What's up, everybody out in the YouTube world? Michael Dillon from Delightful Adventures. Tonight is finally the night. I call it my Christmas. It's Halloween Horror Nights 32, HHN 32, with Dr. Oddfellow and friends as we get ready to embark. I'm excited. We're doing our RIP tour again this year with the 3 and 6 house behind the screams over the next couple of months. This will be our first of probably 2 or 3 visits to HHN in the next couple of months. But this is obviously my favorite. It's opening weekend. A lot to look forward to. Gonna give you a rating on the houses. We'll do some filming with the tour guide as we go around. Not sure I'm gonna get in the houses with the camera. I'll probably just enjoy the houses when we go. But we'll do, I'll try to film the tour guide talking about each of the houses. We'll film the scare zones. And we'll film the food, merchandise, tribute store, all that good stuff. As always, you probably won't see me on camera much because I'm just going to be showing you around. But this is Universal's best event of the year. We got some good houses this year. Probably the one I'm most excited about, along with probably everybody else, is Stranger Things. Dueling Dragons, also a favorite this year. And if you haven't, go listen to the Universal podcast. They've got a lot of behind-the-scenes content. If you can do that before you go to HHN, you get a lot more context on Oddfellow, on the cast, on the houses. Very much worth your time. So with that, gonna get a cup of coffee, gonna head down to Universal, start getting in position for a nice night of festivities. Come with me, let's have some fun. All right, we made it. Get this RIP tour on. On the way out, but pretty pumped about this year. Getting ready to start. Here's the benefit of the RIP tour. Not to wait in that. We're gonna go straight over to the VIP section and just hang out, wait. Go sit in a little bump out here in a little bit, and then make our way into touring. Here we go.
Already, but my name is Devin. You guys will be with me tonight. A little bit about me. I've been a character the last 4 years. It's gonna be right over there. It's gonna be Dark Zodiac. So going into a little bit about Dr. Oddfellow, he is our original icon this year. He's a man of mystic magic. He is a really cool guy. I'm a big fan of him. This scare zone we're going into, you'll notice a lot tonight. Our scare zones are set in different decades and time periods. Dark Zodiac is set in the Zodiac realm, so there's not really a time period to it. But I'm sure everyone here, or at least may possibly know their Zodiac sign, so go ahead and make sure you check it out. But the great thing about the Zodiac Street is that one of the things of Dr. Oddfellow, he's an immortal creature. One of the things he uses to gain power is through the Zodiac realm, so he always uses the power of the Zodiac to get some power. This is our only scare zone this year that has chainsaws. There's some really cool chainsaws with the Zodiac symbols on them. I personally am Aquarius, so I love looking for things like that. We will check it out later. It's really cool in the dark as well, but we are gonna head that way, so all right.
Some very odd creatures.
years before. If anyone ever questions how powerful that woman is, the thing with Exorcist Believer is that the movie hasn't come out yet. It originally, even as of last week, was scripted to come out October 13th. Taylor Swift's Era Tour movie is also coming out October 13th, so guess what Exorcist Believer's doing? Coming out a week earlier. So Exorcist Believer's now coming out October 6th. It's confirmed by Mr. Blumhouse himself. What's really cool about Exorcist the Believer, it's been 50 years since the original movie came out. This house and this movie are meant to be a direct sequel to the first movie 50 years later. The tie-in, so now instead of the one girl we had Reagan, now we have two girls, Catherine and Angela. Now, you know, just two girls living their life, they go missing. When they finally get found, they think they've been missing for a few hours. It's been 3 days, and no one really knows what happened. But you know who the queen of exorcism is? Reagan's mother, Chris McNeil. She actually makes a cameo in this movie. She comes back and is now helping these two girls, because I don't know what I would do if my child was possessed. I don't even have kids. I feel like that's not a biblical example. So this house acts like a living trailer. It's really beautiful. It doesn't smell too bad. That was one thing I was really concerned about. This one is incredible. Acts like a living trailer. There's a lot to be left to the imagination, and I cannot wait to see what we see on October 6th. So we're all ready for our first house.
Another neat perk of the Red Tour. Put you up on the Fallon balcony and you get some time. Been through 3 houses so far. I didn't get the overview of each house, but we did Exorcist, Stranger Things, and Blood Moon. Blood Moon's probably sticking out just a slight bit, but Stranger Things didn't disappoint either. We're going to continue here in just a minute, but it's again another benefit of the RIP. You don't wait in these big long lines. We're on the balcony of Fallon having a beer, just relaxing. So keep that in mind when you come over.
Really stinks. All right, so we are now currently standing in front of our next scare zone. This is Vamp 69, Summer of Blood. As I was telling him earlier, 3 is a really big theme this year. Things of 3. This is our 3rd Getty house. This is the 3rd time we've done Stranger Things. This is the 3rd installment of the Vamp series. We had Vamp 55, we had Vamp 85 2 years ago, Vamp 69. As you can see, Dr. Angela Symbol is on the stage currently. Now Our next scare zone is Shipyard 32, set in the 1940s. One of the few houses we haven't done yet is Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins, which is set in 1933. This is just a couple years after Jack. Dr. Oddfellow, at this point, he has those scratches from Jack. He's importing and exporting goods, creatures, things for his freak show. And he's on this quest for immortality. He's kind of collecting creatures, experimenting with creatures, all sorts of things like that. We are heading to the 1940s. We're going to be in a shipping area, pier area, kind of San Francisco-y. We don't really have a set location. That is the name of the scare zone area itself. So a lot of collection of monsters, maybe some monsters you recognize from previous years. And he has his own exporting company. You'll see his big old van, Dr. Oddfellow's Imports and Exports. And it's got that one big symbol we've been seeing all night because all of the streets, like I said, this year connect. So we're gonna head through there and we're gonna go to the bar. Woo! Which later becomes on his cane, because he uses that skull, and he also uses the power of the Zodiac to harness his power. But we see kind of a baby Dr. Oddfellow. Really cool street. I really enjoyed this one. 1920s exploring. I mean, what can you not like? Fun fact, there's 253 bats in those trees.
Nice.
Why that many? I don't know, but they're pretty cool. All right, friends, let's go. I want to count them all. I mean, I don't think they sound like physical bats, but it's supposed to be 250.
That's fake. Cookie cream mummy bites are really good. Go get them in La Bamba. Alright, we're all done with the rip tour. We're gonna go check out the tribute store, some food, and I'll give you a review in the car on the houses. Turned out pretty good. It started out slow, but they knew how to get us around and which houses to go to, so more to come.
A power none of you can deny. And to those still afraid, those too weak for the journey, well, like any good shepherd, I will make use of what's left of you. Please go into the night, see the horrors for you, and do try to survive. I know some of you will not, so do try to enjoy yourselves while you still can.
Some Surfer Boy pizza. Probably end up here. Bloody campground poutine. Twisted taters. That might be a stop. Place is just packed, man. More spots. A lot more food this year. Let's go on this tribute are all comics. All comics. That's awesome. All different comic books. They put their faces on the wall in these comics. It's pretty cool. Winning treat tonight at Chucky's. The popcorn. Fried to the end. Chicken. They put ranch on it. Really good. Alright, we're going to try this again. I'm going to give you my ratings. Man, great night tonight. Again, highly recommend. If you're going to do HHN, definitely recommend. Listen to the audio podcast before you come out here. You're going to get a lot more context on what happened. Great night. So glad I did the RIP tour. We got through all 10 houses. We got through 5 scare zones. We saw the show. Great time. Highly recommend it. There's a ton of good videos out there, by the way, where you can go in. If you want to know what's going on inside the house before you go in, check them out. Unfortunately, I'm not good enough yet to be in the media, but I wanted you to get a survey of what I saw, and it was good. So this year was all about Oddfellow, Dr. Oddfellow, who is another idol, or another icon, I should say, for Halloween Horror Nights. He did not disappoint. This night grew on me. Started a little slow, but as the night went on, I absolutely fell in love with this season. You know, I was thinking about it as I walked into the car, and I was like, man, I have a hard time really comparing year over year because they're so different. This year did remind me a little bit of HHN 30 with all of the icons, but Oddfellow crushed it, and you'll see that in my ratings. Shout out to Devin. You'll see her on, this is her first tour tonight on RIP, and she did great. Let me give you my ratings real quick and give you a little snippet on each one too. For the scare zones, coming in at number 5 was Shipyard 42. This is Oddfellow in the 40s, experimenting with different creatures, kind of right near Fast and Furious and Harry Potter, if you kind of find it between there. Traditionally, it's never been my favorite scare zone. It wasn't this year either. A little underwhelming, smaller scare zone. Nobody really scares me in that one. The creatures were okay to look at, but I was a little disappointed. I was hoping to see a little Oddfellow in these two. By the way, it's another really cool thing about scare zones this year. Oddfellow's connected each one, right? So the scare zones all have something to do with one another and all complement one another. So I thought that was neat. Coming in at number 4 is Oddfellow himself. He has the front main entrance this year. Last year we had the pumpkins right in front of where Despicable Me has evolved into a land now. They moved that up, and you have Oddfellow right there at the front in front of Minions Land. It was good. I got spoiled from the pumpkins last year. Oddfellow himself was awesome to see. I just thought the scare zone didn't have a lot to it, but still a really neat scare zone. Go and stop there. I recommend at night because his whole carriage lights up. There's some concoctions in there tied to the house. Really neat to see, and a really cool story. And again, highly recommend listening to the podcast to get some context on him. Number 3 is Dark Zodiac. This one is on, what is that, Main, not Hollywood Boulevard, kind of that area where the Bourne show is, and you've got horror makeup show there. This one was fun, right? Better to go through at night again. The fog machine lights, get you, and then somebody jumps out right at you, right? So this one was fantastic, liked it. Vampa 69, which is right in front of the Mummy this year. Last year, this was my favorite scare zone. It didn't disappoint again. We got, a concert going on in the 60s, and all of a sudden, these vampires show up and start eating people. And Oddfellow is, if you listen to the podcast, responsible for this. And really, really neat setup. It's probably, I think it is the biggest scare zone. They did a phenomenal job. Lots to see. At the concert stage, you got bus, you got cars, the tribute stores there, which you'll see video of here tonight. Just a great scare zone. And the number one this year, Jungle of Doom. Just phenomenal. Over 200 bats up in the trees. They had a plane crash. Oddfellow, a younger Oddfellow in his 20s, is walking around with his cane. Really, I don't know if he had his cane, actually. I have to go back and look. But he is there. Definitely worth this. This scare zone traditionally not been my favorite. It was this year. It was phenomenal in that area. And this scare zone wins the night for me. Jungle of Doom takes it. All right, houses ranked. Let me go quick here. Exorcist was number 10. I didn't care for it. I'm not an Exorcist fan. I don't watch the movies. I'm not interested. I think these things are real, and I didn't really care for it, to be honest with you. Number one, we didn't know anything about the movie. I mean, you got the preview, but nobody's seen the movie. So we're walking around the house. We have no idea what's going on. It didn't come out till October. This is the opening week in September. So that's why I had to give it a 10 ranking. Number 9 was Chucky. It started interesting. The Fast and Furious house just needs to be blown up. Let's just start over again. Call it a day. But you walk in, you get Chucky on a TV screen, he's talking about what kill he's going to do, and it's his favorite kills, and you walk in, you see another room. But it's so repetitious. You have an intermission right in the middle, and you think it's over, and you go in another house. It's basically the continuation of the house you were in. It didn't flow well. It was just kind of tacky. This was a filler. I get they announced this one last year at the end of HHN 31, so I get it, but it takes 9 for me. The rest of these houses are all pretty tight, right? So those are the 2 houses I could have done without. The next 8 were really good. And this year, honestly, all 8 houses were really close. It's hard for me to call one. It's kind of like comparing HHNs. They're all good for their own reasons. So this was not a bad year. We had 8 really good houses, in my opinion. And some people are going to like Exorcist and bump it up. That just wasn't it for me. Yeti was number 8. Yeti just belongs to Expedition Everest, people. But I think it was over several hundred trees in this big studio lot for this haunted house. The Yetis were cool to see. I liked it, but it does take number 8 for me. Last of Us, number 7, based on the PlayStation game back in 2013. This one had the longest wait, I think over almost 2 hours, if not 2 hours. We got ushered right to the front. I liked it. I think they crushed the video game. They got it. I saw similarities from the movie. It just wasn't my favorite theme, right? Which is why I had it at 7, but they still did a phenomenal job of the house. Darkest Deal was number 6. There is a podcast on this one. Highly recommend going to listen to it. It was my favorite podcast, to be honest, is the one I followed the best. This was based on a musician who makes a deal with a collector, and ultimately that bites him in the butt. Definitely worth a watch on this one. And I really liked it. It reminded me of New Orleans. It had the jazz feel. They did a great job. I was out in the tent, and I was really blown away. Number 5 was Blood Moon, another podcast, a good one to go follow. This one's a little dark, but takes place at colonial times. It was really pretty. They did a good job. Definitely felt, that was one thing I did feel like of the houses this year. I felt like a lot of them had the same walk track. It just feels like they rewrapped them, but they were so different themes, but kind of the same outline. Blood Moon reminded me of the shipyard last year. You had somebody kind of up at the top near the Blood Moon doing things, and you're walking through the house. Walk through the house, you can look up and see them. But I still like the house very good. Number 4, Stranger Things. They crushed it. We knew they were going to do well. This is Vecna's season. This year they said this was kind of the season of 3s. So you had your 3rd Nightmare Fuel. You have your 3rd time Stranger Things has appeared. Apparently this is the 3rd time a vampire concert thing has appeared. Stranger Things was good. The scene where they're going against the bats was unique. It was different, and I loved it. But I did give it a number 4 rank because I think at the end of the day, we kind of know what's going to happen, right? There wasn't a ton of surprises. And I've realized about myself, I like the IPs, but I prefer the originals because you don't know what you're going to get. Number 3 was Dueling Dragons, bringing back the old ride from Islands of Adventure back in '99. Phenomenal. You get to pick your fate, fire or ice, and you get 4, I think there's 4 different outcomes that come about in this one. For each path that you take, you either save Merlin, save the whole setup, or you don't, right? And they tell you, we got out, we did it, we went the ice path and loved it. But that means when I go back, I get to take fire and try that, and it's a different route, which is awesome. That's the first time I've seen that in a house where you've got 4 different outcomes that you can get out of a haunted house. Just really cool. And you get the power to choose. Our group broke in half. Half of them went fire, half of them went ice. So just like the roller coaster, it didn't let us down. Classic Monsters was number 2 this year. My favorite Classic Monsters of all the ones they've done. It's a tribute to The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Jekyll and Hyde, Invisible Man, and Phantom of the Opera, who was my favorite character. This one was constant scares, well designed. I look forward to doing the behind the scenes on it. They just did an incredible job. Similar outline to last year's Classic Monsters. They had the Paris overhang though, which is really cool to see. Loved it. And then my number 1 house this year is Oddfellow Twisted Origins. I'm a circus fan. This shows the battle between Jack and Oddfellow and that whole story. Really, really neat. And you need to go listen to the podcast on this one. They'll also give you a breakdown on it. So it's almost 1 in the morning. I'm going to bed. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit subscribe. Plenty of good videos to go see inside the houses. We're not there yet. But with your subscribe button, you are hitting subscribe for us, you can get us there. But let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know how you ranked it. Everybody's going to be different. That's just my ranking for the night. It was another great year. The year of Oddfellow didn't let us down. I look forward to hopefully seeing Oddfellow versus Jack maybe in the future. And, again, Universal, you set the bar super high with houses and the time that you put into them. Great job yet again.